Gold and silver are among the most widespread symbols in the history of religion. Their exceptional physical qualities make them, like their celestial counterparts, the sun and the moon, unusually powerful symbols of spiritual realities. As a physical substance, gold is intrinsically luminous, seeming to shine with a light of its own. This shine is associated with sun gods, like Ra and Apollo. Silver too is naturally suited to serve as a religious symbol. Its faultless whiteness has made it a symbol of purification and perfection. Silver is associated with the night sky, and has been integrated into an entire complex of lunar symbolism that includes the Great Purifier, water. Both of these precious metals were formed in the early universe, when the first stars exploded as supernovae. These massive explosions produce heavy elements like gold and silver, which were then scattered across the cosmos. Some of these elements ended up in our own solar system, where they were incorporated into asteroids and comets. These space rocks then collided with Earth over billions of years, bringing both gold and silver along with them. Therefore, they are both scientifically and religiously attributed to the celestial expanse and its orbiting bodies. According to the alchemical doctrine, gold and silver develop in the Earth under the influence of the sun and moon respectively. The ultimate goal of this development is the production of gold, which is consequently viewed as the perfect metal, and as a symbol of spiritual perfection. The alchemist's art is intended to hasten this natural process, both in external nature and within the alchemist's soul. Silver here becomes a symbol of the soul's purity and passivity before the activity of the spirit, symbolized by gold. Within alchemy, the planets were symbolized by metals, again reinforcing the association between these precious metals with celestial bodies. To the ancient Egyptians, gold was more than just a precious metal. It was the skin or flesh of the gods, particularly the sun god, Ra. Pharaohs believed it to be divine and were often buried in gold coffins to aid with their journey into the afterlife. One of the most impressive collections of artistic gold articles was discovered in the tomb of Tutankhamun, including the stunning golden burial mask that formed a part of the king's coffin. Gold funeral masks are quite common globally. They have been found from Champa, modern Vietnam, to Peru. The mummies of the kings of ancient Peru were completely wrapped in golden foil. In the ancient Greek writing, Works and Days, the poet Hesiod associated periods of time throughout existence with metals. This was part of a fivefold division of the ages of man, starting with the Golden Age, then the Silver, then the Bronze, then the Age of Heroes, and finally our current Age of Iron. A Golden Age is a period considered to be the peak in the history of a country or people, a time period when the greatest achievements were made. Men from the Silver Age were said to have lived for over 100 years under the dominion of their mothers. During the Silver Age, men refused to worship the gods, and Zeus destroyed them for their impiety. After death, humans of this age became blessed spirits of the underworld. Gold in Greek mythology is found often, from the golden fleece stolen by Jason, which possessed the power of resurrection, to Helios's cup that allowed the possessor to travel vast distances, and even a symbol that represented the sun god, Apollo. In Byzantine iconography, the halos of Christ, Virgin Mary, and the saints are often golden. Christianity uses gold to produce crosses and chalices. In the Old Testament, gold is prominent in constructing sacred objects. For example, it is used when they craft the mercy seat, representing God's presence and authority. Additionally, the golden lampstand symbolized God's light and guidance in the tabernacle. Gold in Aztec mythology was believed to be the sun's sweat. This association of gold with the sun deity made it an incredibly sacred metal. The sun god, Huitzilopochtli, was a primary god of war, human sacrifice, and large-scale ceremonies. Gold offerings were crucial in these ceremonies, underscoring the metal's religious importance. When the Spaniards arrived in the Aztec Empire, they were stunned by the amount of gold they saw. However, the gold's sacredness meant that while the Aztecs valued it spiritually, they did not use it as a currency as the Spaniards did. In Aztec mythology, it wasn't just a metal, but a sacred embodiment of their most revered deity. As mentioned, gold is thought to be a product of the collision of neutron stars. Meanwhile, within Elden Ring, it's stated that long ago the Greater Will sent a golden star bearing a beast into the lands between. This golden star led to the introduction of grace, the establishment of the Golden Order, and the domination of the Greater Will. The Golden Order was initially created when Queen Marika the Eternal confined the Rune of Death, making herself and her demigod offspring immortal. Marika is of Numen descent. Numens are supposed denizens of another world, who possibly arrived via a falling star as well. Golden ore being found in meteorites is also mentioned in the Onyx Lord's greatsword. the lords being from a race of ancients with skin of stone who were said to have risen to life when a meteor struck long ago. A meteor, sometimes called a shooting star or falling star, is actually a space rock that is crashing through Earth's atmosphere. Most meteorites found on Earth come from shattered asteroids, although some come from Mars or the Moon. Amber starlight explains that the amber-hued stars, aka golden stars, must command the fate of the gods. Plus, we know the golden amber contains the remnants of ancient life, and houses its vitality. With golden masks mentioned earlier being used in funeral practices, it's theorized that the immortality of the deceased is ensured by providing the deceased with an immortal persona. This reminded me of the ever-brilliant Gold Mask, who is a tarnished scholar, Golden Order fundamentalist, and predictor of the guidance of grace. Upon his resurrection, via the Greater Will, he seeks to perfect the Golden Order by ending the hunt for those that live in death. Even his radiant gold mask symbolizes a halo, a crown of light rays in the form of a disc. Halos are included in the iconography of many religions to indicate holy or sacred figures. Gold mask is a tarnish brought back to the lands between by the grace of gold. Grace is bestowed by the Erdtree, essentially the Greater Will. In Western Christian theology, grace is created by God, who gives it as help to one because God desires one to have it, not necessarily because of anything one has done to earn it. In Elden Ring, grace is bestowed onto the tarnished from the Greater Will in the hopes that an individual capable of collecting the Great Runes will one day come back to the Erdtree and repair the ring that Marika shattered. Silver, on the other hand, has had its own magical allure throughout history. Silver's shimmer has been compared to the moon's glimmer. As such, silver is commonly attributed to lunar deities. Likewise, it is also attributed to the sacred feminine, as many lunar deities were goddesses. In numerous mythological tales across cultures, such as Greek mythology or Norse folklore, silver artifacts or moon-shaped items carry symbolic significance as defensive charms or divine talismans against malevolent forces. Silver has also been broadly utilized in traditional medicinal practices for its believed healing features. In Greek mythology, silver is mentioned just about as often as gold is, the most notable being the silver-adorned bows and lances of the goddess Artemis. Artemis was a goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, nature, and childbirth. In Christianity, Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. After Jesus was captured, Judas committed suicide. His suicide, as many explained, was the cause of guilt. Therefore, silver became a reminder of both his guilt and the betrayal of his God. As such, silver reminds evil spirits of both their separation from God and their everlasting guilt. Thus, the spirits will flee from the silver. Christianity uses silver mainly for the production of candlesticks, censers, and reliquaries. The belief in the powers of the silver bullet, a cliché in werewolf and vampire media, took root in the folkloric idea that silver had the ability to ward off evil spirits due to its associations with the moon. You may have seen vampires in media shown to have no reflections. Interestingly, old-fashioned mirrors use silver backing to achieve reflection, again showing a connection with silver and its ability to protect against malevolent forces. While the idea that silver wards off monsters of the night is thought to be Christian, the use of silver to deter or ward off evil spirits exists in Islamic, Hindu, Egyptian, and Eastern European cultures as well. Ancient Phoenicians used silver vessels to keep water pure, and sailors used to throw silver coins into their milk to keep it from spoiling on long journeys before modern refrigeration. This is because silver has oligodynamic properties, meaning that metal ions inside of it kill off living cells and organisms including mold, fungi, viruses, algae, and other microorganisms, meaning that silver utensils are very hygienic and have antibacterial and disinfectant properties. In the UK exists a ceremony called the crossing of a baby's palm. Traditionally, a baby is given a silver coin to hold to wish them good health and fortune in their future. It is known as silvering the baby. Once the coin is placed on the baby's hand, if they threw it down or let it go, it is said that the baby will become a frivolous spender, whereas if they hold on to the coin, then they will have financial stability in their future. Babies are also given sterling silver as gifts during their christening as a symbol of good fortune. Gold visually relates to the Erdtree, the Golden Order, Greater Will, and Leyndell, the royal capital, while silver connects more to the night sky, the Nox, the dark moon, and the eternal cities. The Nox praise the night sky and live in the silver-tinted eternal cities below the lands between, using the science of the silver tears in an attempt to forge a new lord that would lead them to their age of stars. The silver tears we find in the Eternal Cities mirror real-world silver's reflectivity and high electrical conductivity, as displayed through the silver tears that explode in a burst of electricity. Silver's known association to infants is mirrored by the Iron Virgins of Volcano Manor, which are large metal constructs resembling the statue of a saintly woman cradling a small silver baby to her chest. Notice it's called a virgin, implying that they have not given birth to the baby that they are currently holding. This dives into the theory that Rennala may have artificially created her children, like Rykard, from her knowledge of the silver tears. Rennala being a mother to her children while also being a virgin, having not birthed them herself. In Rykard's case, his artificial origin could be the reason for his disdain of the Albinaurics, due to the fact that they remind him of a shared heritage. The fusion of gold and silver can be seen in the twin set, worn by both Darian and his twin brother Devon. Much mystery surrounds these twins. Are they born from mixing Newman and Nox heritage as seen from their physical features, or are they even twins at all? Instead, one could be a mimic sharing a soul with the original form. The inseparable sword also has the shape of a teardrop within its blade, where the gold meets the silver. Its item description makes note that the Golden Order was the only institution not to revile them. Why? Is it possible that D is just a small example of what the Greater Will once wished to accomplish, the fusion of gold and silver, sun and moon, on a grand enough scale to create the Rebis? The Rebis is the end product of the alchemical great work. The Rebis, sometimes described as the divine hermaphrodite, is a reconciliation of spirit and matter, a being of both male and female qualities, a fusion of the sun and moon. This could have been the reason that the Greater Will fused Radagon and Marika together, to form a being with a divine physical form capable of housing the Greater Will. There is a theory that the Greater Will wished to create a perfect vessel for it to then inhabit and act as a portal to the physical realm. Yes, it chose Marika and Radagon, but originally I believe it to have selected Godwyn and Ranni. Godwyn the Golden, royal bloodline of the Golden Order, is the sun, while Ranni, a possible product of silver heritage, follows the goal of the Nox to bring about the power of the Dark Moon. The fusion of these two individuals could result in the form that would be similar to the Rebus. Not wanting to become a puppet of the Greater Will, Ranni enacted the plot of the Black Knives, sacrificing both bodies, and therefore blocking the Greater Will from achieving its Rebus. In closing, gold and silver have long been associated with religious rituals, deities, and cultural identities. Gold symbolizes the sun, while silver symbolizes the moon. Within Elden Ring, gold can be attributed to the Greater Will, Erdtree, Godwyn, and the Golden Order, while silver can be attributed to the Dark Moon, Night Sky, Ranni, and the Nox. Although these two forces oppose each other throughout the narrative, we do see evidence of merging gold and silver together with the twin set armor. A fusion of Red King Radagon and White Queen Marika is seen as the formation of the Rebus, but what if the Greater Will originally had the intention of fusing Godwyn and Ranni instead? The purpose of creating the Rebus is to obtain a perfect vessel, capable of housing the Greater Will's physical form within the lands between. Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. Thank you so much for your time today, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful week.